Good evening, everybody. We're back, Matt.
We're back. We're here.
Talking town. 30 minutes with Marcus Stewart. If you haven't caught this afternoon's show, please do. It's over on YouTube to watch. A little bit lively, Matt.
I was going to say, it's a bit of a lively one. I didn't have the saucepan ready, did I?
No.
I'll bring that next time. We won't need that today.
Tumble dryer was not on the go.
Yeah.
Anyway, good evening to everyone in the chat. Phil Blundell, Marcus Biscuit, Mark Rattle, Billy Dalton, Danny Salter. Loads of people piling into the chat. If you've got anything you want asking to Marcus, just drop it in there. And we are pressed for time. So we've only got 30 minutes. And look, I just want to say thanks to Marcus for giving up his time, Matt, on a Sunday evening. Time is precious, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Shall we jump straight in?
Bring in the star of the show.
He's here. There he is.
How you doing?
Hello. All good, thanks. You?
Yeah, right. Good. Last time I spoke to you was when I was at Josh's Away Days beer event, and I video called you, and you were in the car.
Yeah, that's all right. I think I don't know where I was going at that time.
Where are you going?
I don't know. I'm always driving, so I don't know where I'm going. I'm either going up north, going to Ipswich, going to work. But I was driving, and you guys look like you're having a good time.
Yeah, it's brilliant event. I don't know when the beer's out. There is a Marcus Brew It. It will be available at some point.
Yeah, he did say that. And we were thinking of other names as well, but I don't know. I couldn't think of one. Anyone got any? Did you come up with anything, or was that?
I did at the time. I can't remember. You put me on the spot now, haven't you?
You had too many beers, Marcus. That was the problem.
Well, sometimes when I've had a couple of beers, I come up with some good ideas, and I get up in the morning. That wasn't too good.
Josh is a good guy, and I think raised a bit of money for you. So it was all good.
He did, yeah. So done a great job, you guys. And how many people turned up that day? I don't remember, but it looked pretty busy when you were on camera.
I can't remember who we were playing. Shall we start off right with your return to Portman Road for the Plymouth game?
Big swing.
First time since you left that you'd actually been back, wasn't it?
As a fan, yes. I mean, I came back with Sunderland in the Championship a few years ago.
Missed that penalty on purpose, didn't you?
Missed the penalty on purpose, so everyone says, yeah. But I must say, I was so nervous that penalty. I don't think, normally when you step up for a penalty, you're nervous a little bit. It's a bit of butterflies, I'd say, not nerves. But that penalty, I've never felt anything like it. So I perhaps should have given the penalty to someone else, but the opportunity to score was too good. But I think we ended up drawing that game in the end. I think Benty scored and I think Carver scored. 2-2, yeah. But no, it's the first time I've been back as a fan, so it was great to savour the atmosphere without any pressure on me, but there was a little bit, I suppose.
It's pretty nerve-wracking talking in front of 20,000 people on the microphone, isn't it?
I mean, it was very hard, to control my emotions, and I've said it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I had a chat with Matty the day before, Matty Holland. We had a little bit of a meet-up, and that was quite hard. But like Matty does, he makes you feel comfortable. Doesn't get too emotional with the questions, and that's how he is. He's pretty good like that. But then, like I say, going out in front of 29,000 fans with, top of the league clash, and then have to speak half time with another legend of the club, Simon Milton. It's quite tough, yeah. And I very rarely plan what to say. I just speak from the heart. I write something down, but I speak from the heart, and that's what I try to do. And I managed to control my emotions just about.
Yeah, I don't think, Marcus, you were the only one who was quite emotional that day. You only got to hear the reception when you walked on that pitch, and I'll admit I had a bit of a tear, because you're one of my heroes, and I think obviously what you're going through, and it's really obviously tough for you, and we're all with you. We are all with you, and we just look, yeah.
The top tier where I sit, Mark, is in the top tier of the West Stand now, Magnus Stand. Normally you've got people milling about and they're getting drinks at half time. Everybody stopped and watched you on the big screen, Everyone stopped what they were doing. So that was
Do you know when I was talking on the microphone, you're not really looking around at the crowd. It's a bit weird. Almost, you're kind of there. You're thinking about what to say. So you don't really notice these things. But I do remember it being deadly silent.
Everyone was hanging on every word you were saying.
Very respectful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everyone knows what's going on now. I kind of when I originally got diagnosed, it was that week was a tough week after I'd leading up to it being released in the papers and the press or whatever media it was being released on. That was a tough week because all I wanted to happen was for it to be over and out. I had plenty of conversations with people, one or two people in the media, family, what was the best thing to do, really, whether to get out there or not. Once I decided, that week leading up to knowing that it's going to come out was quite tough.
I'm sure.
So in the same breath, it was quite tough, knowing I was coming back to Ipswich, knowing I was going to chat with people at half time. And it was quite tough. And in the strain, I'm glad it's over in a way, because I can get on with things now. I ain't got to worry about what I'm going to say, although I'm going to come on to podcasts and stuff like that and chat. But to speak in front of fans about something I don't really want to talk about, but I feel I have to, and I have responsibility now to do. It's quite a hard thing to do. If you're talking about football, not a problem. But when you're talking and people know what's going on with you, all eyes are on you for a different reason.
What about the game? What did you make of the game? Because is that the first time you've seen Town live for this under McKenna?
Yeah, I've been involved in League One as a player and as a coach. I thought it was a very good tactical game. I thought Plymouth did all right. I think obviously Ipswich did okay. I don't think one team ran away with it. There was key moments in the game. Obviously Plymouth had that great chance second half. Far post.
Would you fancy yourself from there?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, but I've been there and I've done things like that, and it's sometimes when the ball comes across the box and you got a lot of time to think about where you're going to put the ball. That's when you make a mistake. The instinctive ones for me were the easy ones, because you just worry, you didn't have time to think about them. So it happened, and look, fortunately for us, that the guy missed. So. But I thought it was a good tactical game. Maybe probably a fair result in the end. I don't think that's what I would say.
Talking about instinctive ones, Marcus, I've got one of these lovely prints. Signed by you. That was instinctive, wasn't it? The goal of Bolton.
Yeah, exactly. I think, it was. The first one especially, it just sat up nicely, like I said. The second one, God... I could still be thinking about it now. I mean, but you say instinctive, but I think if the keeper stays on his line or doesn't commit himself too early, then it makes me think a little bit longer, But because he's kind of made my mind up for me by coming out, it did help a bit. So that was an instinct. That was instinctive going around him. I didn't plan to do that. The space was there. So, thanks, goalie, for giving me a better chance to score a goal.
Showed his cards. Are you surprised, Marcus, that Ipswich have had such a great start? And we kind of lamented this in our show this afternoon. We're kind of falling away, and Derby are on our tail now. Are you surprised with the money spent? We keep saying on our show, we've spent a lot of money. Should we not be champions? I mean, what's your take on it, having seen that Plymouth game?
I think, listen, at some point in the season, most clubs in that league, in the top 5 of that league, will have a month. It doesn't have to be, January or February, but 3 or 4 weeks in the season where things don't go their way. And once you get out the other side of that, you kind of kick on, and then it's someone else's turn to kind of have that month. So it's happening. I know it's a one-all draw, but local rivals and stuff. But there's still plenty of games to go yet. So from my point of view, there's no panic. It's new players coming in, and I hate the word gel. Let's gel. They've got to get the players to gel together. I don't like that saying, but they got to give the cohesion in the team is different, and that's got to happen at some point with new players coming in. So we'll see. The next 2 or 3 months are quite important, as we know, and I ain't going to say that they're not going to have another month, because if they have another 2 or 3 weeks where results don't go away, then they're going to get in the playoffs. Simple as that. But if they kick on and have a good end to the season, which could easily happen, then who's to say that they won't get promoted automatically?
What kind of run do you think we need to go on then to try and cut down this 5-6 points that we've got? Are you thinking 3, 4, 5 games on the bounce?
I just think a win draws. A draw is not a bad result. It's a bad result when you're chasing something, or a bad result if you're bottom of the league. But those type of points can be the difference at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. There would be ugly. I don't know what the game was like. I hear it wasn't too good, but those type of ugly draws, or an ugly win sometimes when the football's not brilliant and you're not playing well as a team, I think those type of results can be the difference at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't a great game yesterday, I've got to say, with Cambridge, but we always seem to struggle there, don't we, Rich? At Cambridge.
Yeah, I don't think we've actually we've not won there in the league, right, Marcus? The reason I wanted to get you on is for you to talk about your charity game at Bristol Rovers on the Saturday, the 13th of May. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Well, it's a charity game. I said to the week, it's a celebration of football for me. There's a lot of different football players coming to the game. A lot of different fans that support different teams. It's not just about Bristol Rovers, Bristol City, because it's based in Bristol. Although there will be aspects of Bristol Rovers, Bristol City players in the Southwest team, along with other Southwest teams. But to have players come from different teams, from your Man United to Jill Scott, women's football. There's a lot of football to be played, and a lot of. For me, I just want people to have a good day, and in the meantime, let's raise some money for charity. That's how I see it. I don't see it. Of course, it's a charity game, but it's a game where there's not a lot of pressure on anyone. Fans aren't going to be getting on the backs of the players. Well, I hope not, anyway, because there's nothing on it in terms of points or next round of the cup. It's literally enjoy the day, no pressure. Kids can come along, and have a good family day out, or mates, or whoever you want to bring. Let's hope the weather's quite nice. It can be in Bristol, but let's hope for that day it is, and everyone enjoys the occasion. That's what I want to happen, really.
You announced any names?
Raise some money. Sorry.
Have you announced any names, players-wise? Can you reveal any players to us?
Well, yeah, Paul Scholes is playing. Jill Scott's playing.
Into the jungle.
Matty said he'd play. Matty Holland, Darren Bent said he'd play. And there's loads of other ones. I'm just reading them off.
Right.
I don't like name dropping, but I suppose I have to today. But yeah, there's loads. I mean, there's a few. At the moment, I've ordered, I think it's 44 kits, 42 kits, and 2 of those are goalkeepers' kits. And I think at the moment we've got between, I think it's 60 and 80 players that have said that they want to play.
Wow.
But obviously, I've got to we can't have 60, 80 players turn up and, sorry guys, only 20 kits and Scholes on the bench, he's got no kit. So, but I know how it is. Some of them are retired, some are still playing, and they've got, at the end of the year, I understand there's holidays going to happen. There's going to be media coverage. That still going. The Premier League still goes on, of course, because of the World Cup. So I get that one or two will pull out. That's why we've got so many players that have said yes. But yeah, those are confirmed for sure. And we'll see near the time. We'll get a definite and probably an update of the actual players that are definitely playing. But as it stands, we've got 60 to 80 that want to play for 40 t-shirts. For 40
teams. Where can people get tickets from?
Oh, good question. If Bristol Rovers website, they've got they use their ticketing office and they can get tickets from there. It's done through the people they do tickets through, and I'm not sure who they are, but the tickets are being done as if they're being sold for a Bristol Rovers game. So that's where you can get tickets from.
Brilliant. Big town presence down that way. Big town presence down that way. A lot of town fans that way. We've got the Southwest branch, haven't we, Rich?
Yeah, I know John who runs that. Yeah, I know John. So
brilliant.
hopefully those guys can turn up.
I'm presuming the strips you've chosen then are going to be blue and white and red, aren't they, to reflect Bristol?
I have chosen. No, I haven't. It's a strange one. I've got an old school kit from when I was in primary school.
All right.
With my old schoolmates when we played at school against other schools, and I really liked it from this day. Even now, and we're on a group chat, of course, still from.
Oh, brilliant.
Now, and a couple of lads have been putting photographs of us, in the old school team, and it's a really nice kit. It's like a white kit. I can't explain it. It's a bit different, with like a yellow strip, yellowy orangey strip all down the side of the arm.
Oh yeah,
like that. Black shorts and white socks, kind of thing.
Sounds continental.
It is a little bit, yeah. It is a little bit continental. If I can get a picture to you, Rich, I'll
please do.
Sure. But thankfully, the PFA are organising those kits. I've given the colours that I want.
Oh, brilliant.
And the other one's going to be, I think it's a red one with a black stripe. So a red kit with like a black stripe down the side. So it's not because I just always like that kit. I remember when I was a little kid putting that kit on, I had that feel good factor with it. So So that at the moment, I haven't seen the finished kit yet. But I've sent
the ticket links in the chat. If anyone wants tickets, Matt Stannard's just dropped it in the chat.
I would have, Matt. Brilliant.
Lady Croucher asks, Marcus, are you going to be at the Ipswich versus Bristol Rovers game on Valentine's Day?
Oh, which is that a week on Tuesday?
Yeah, yes, Tuesday week. Yeah.
I might be actually. Yeah, I've been thinking about going to that. Yeah, so I might go to that. I haven't made my mind up yet.
Taking your lovely wife out. Come on, it's Valentine's Day. You should be taking her out.
We'd never do anything Valentine's Day. I couldn't think of anything worse than sitting in a restaurant as on Valentine's night. This is alongside other couples doing exactly the same thing, and it's full up of no families. It's just couples sat there. And I love looking across the restaurant. Whenever, like especially like whether you're with your family and you look at couples and don't speak. They're there for 2 hours and don't say a word to each other. It's like, what? I do the exact same thing at home. I'm sat on a settee. Like, so no, I don't normally go out Valentine's Day, but we do something for it, but not on Valentine's Day.
Tell us about your walk. You done a walk, didn't you, last weekend?
Yes, last Sunday. Yeah, we could go today. Yeah, it was a marathon walk. It was obviously to raise money. For the Derby River Foundation, and there was me, Lou, and about 40 other friends. Kind of made a bit of a weekend of it. The walk was on the Sunday. Most of us arrived on a Saturday. Unfortunately, there's no real beers being partaken. There's no one really had a drink. It's normally like when you go somewhere, first night frenzy, isn't it? But that didn't happen. Everyone was pretty sensible. I think a lot of people were still on dry January. And then we had to walk on the Sunday, so we all woke up pretty fresh Sunday morning. Started at the Oval cricket ground, up the Thames one way, back down the other side, and then did like a figure of 8 and back up the other side of the Thames, so east and then west. And then it was about 26 miles. Started at 9 in the morning and got finished about 10 past 6 at night, with about 3 or 4 10-minute stops. And that was a good day. So all 4 of us done that. And then we had a couple of beers after, but not before.
No.
Did I see your boys are doing the London Marathon, Marcus?
No, doing the Manchester Marathon.
Manchester, that's Manchester,
Yeah.
is it? When is that?
That's in early May. Not sure of the date, but I think
Is
it's
there
early May.
anywhere?
Or is it early April? I actually ain't got a clue what date it is. You know that? I haven't got a clue.
Foundation? Is that who they're doing it for?
Sorry, yes, they are. Yeah, they're doing it for that. And it's good because they play rugby, so they're pretty fit. But when it comes to long distance running, I've done a marathon as well before as a run, and I've done a walk one. And I've just been trying to say to them, listen, you can't. They think something you can do just by rugby training. You've got to teach your body to be able to plod a bit. So the sprinters. So it's going to be tough at the moment. I don't think they realise what they're in for really, but good on them. I'll be there supporting them, of course, and along with other people.
Did you have your family there for the Plymouth game as well, Marcus?
Just me and Lou.
Oh,
no,
okay.
It's just me and Lou. Yeah.
What kind of feeling did you get? Because when they started singing, "Walking in a Stuart Wonderland" and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we've not heard that for 20 plus years, but it still seems so fresh to me, Rich. I can't believe that was 20 years ago. Can you?
Yeah. Like I said, tried not to get emotional like I am now. So it was nice. It was nice. It was nice, of course. Yeah, it's nice to reminisce. I think when you're in the bubble of a football player at the time, in that moment, you kind of don't see things for granted, but you get on with things and you're just living your life week to week, day to day training, games, coach, game, coach, train, coach, game, Sunday off. I think it's only when you get a bit older, like I am now, where you kind of realise.
You look back on it a little bit.
You look back on it a bit, yeah, you do, and you understand what you actually done and how people felt about the respective clubs I paid for when we had success.
Yeah. I mean, you gave us some great times, my friend. I'll tell you what, weren't they, Rich? They probably some of the greatest times we've had.
There's a couple of questions. There's Lee in the chat says, please ask Marcus what is his proudest moment as a Town Ipswich player, and I've got Hawks asked me what is your proudest moment of your career. So similar sort of questions.
So proudest moment of Town, I think it's got to be winning at Wembley. To get into the Premier League. I was only there for the end of that January, at the end of that season. Obviously, we didn't get automatic promotion, and the reason why I came to the club was because it had a bit of experience in being at the top, and they kept hold of George, of course. I think it was 2 previous seasons before that, or was it 3 previous seasons that he got to playoffs and we lost, and that was the 4th year we went up. I'm not sure, but still, there was experience there and to push on. So for me, those fans, a lot of those players and that manager have been through 3 years of hurt, really, disappointments by losing the playoffs. And I think one year, was it the away goal roll against Bolton they lost on?
The season before.
Yeah. So to then for me being there 3 months to always play in the Premier League, that was just the proudest moment. But for those fans that suffered for 3 years before that with last minute disappointments, rules that have gone against them in terms of away goals, the elation would have been magnified mine by 500,000, because
it was.
But that's my proudest moment.
What's the
other one? Proudest moment of my career.
Yeah.
There's so many. Scoring your first professional goal is something you want to do. So I'd say that signing your first professional contract. But at the time, I didn't think I made it, but you kind of think, I made it as a professional. But only when I get older now, I think to myself, actually, if you only played 2 or 3 games for that club and then went off to play non-league, then you actually wouldn't have made it. Because I believe that to be a professional, you have to be in the nitty-gritty and play at least 2 seasons as a professional and regularly for those 2 seasons to actually count yourself as being a professional football player that's played that amount of games. I see a lot of young players these days come in and play 1 or 2 games, drift off down the pyramid, and they call themselves a professional footballer. Sorry, that doesn't sit with me. You got to do it for good 2 or 3 seasons. That's how I see it. 50 to 100 games, then you've made it.
I remember Marcus you had a lovely headband, didn't you, when you started? You had longer hair.
Thanks, Rich.
Argentinian work, was it?
Right. So talk about your
That's
career,
what I
right?
had hair, see?
Yeah, there you go.
I had hair.
Look, I was reading a bit in the Bristol. I was reading a bit in the Bristol. I think it's Bristol Post online about, like, obviously you've played a lot of clubs. You've obviously had coaching roles and management and that. And I just talk to us about your friendship, if you don't mind, with Darryl Clark.
Listen, me and Darryl ain't friends. We're good colleagues who get on really well. That's, I love Darryl to death. We don't call each other every day. We don't call each other every week. But if I was to call him, I'll be there, and vice versa. We had, when he first came to Bristol Rovers, I didn't know him. He didn't know me. We've heard of each other, of course. And then we found out he actually played against me. He was on the bench for Hartlepool against Sunderland in the FA Cup, and when we beat them 1-0, where they should have beat us at the Stadium of Light, and he was playing that game. So little things like that you chat about, and you understand you actually played against each other as well.
Yeah.
But with mates, I think you text each other in the week. You might not call. I think men are a bit different. I think a lot of blokes that I know, they kind of. You can go 2 months without speaking to each other, and if everything's all right, and that's how kind of me and Darryl are, really. He's a busy guy. I know how focused he is when it comes to football, how focused he is. So I don't bother him really. I've called him about a couple of players this season, to come down to us, and we have a chat, and I know he's there. We've always said that we're really good colleagues. I don't go on holiday with him at the end of the season. He doesn't have to come on holiday with me. I know he goes away with his mates, and that's brilliant. But we have a bond because we had a promotion together.
Yeah,
2 promotions, and he was the manager, and I respected every single thing he did at Bristol Rovers. So, I suppose you could say we are friends, but we're not best friends, if that makes sense.
He's doing a good job at Port Vale, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's doing a great job. Job. But no, it's a relationship where he knows I'm there. I know he's there if I need to speak to him about anything. But that's not all the time. I'd say it's once a month, something like that.
I'll tell you what, Marcus. One thing I want to speak to you about. No one ever mentions this, Rich. You talk about the Liverpool goal and all that kind of thing in Wembley and all that. The Southampton hat-trick at the Dell. It's always one that sticks out in my mind as being one of the highlights of that Premier League season. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, it felt like we were going to get into the Champions League, didn't it, after that win?
I mean, how did I forget about that? That's a proud moment as well, scoring your first hat-trick in the Premier League.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Herman Hreidson's little jiggle down the left-hand side.
When did you make your mind up you were going to dink that penalty?
Yeah,
when did that go through your mind?
I did. Yeah, I made my mind up very early. And like I say before, I don't do it to make the keeper look stupid. I do it because I think I'm making the keeper's guess for the next penalties I take. That's why I do it.
Right, okay, looking ahead, like it.
Yeah, I do. I tried to mix it up, go left, right. I didn't go right. I'm going to go left this one, and I'm going to go right for the next 2 penalties. It was just literally think about it, and I always chipped one down the middle now and again, just to keep the keeper. To score a goal. Obviously, to score the goal, Matt. But there's an afterthought of, the keeper is going to look at my penalties, and then they're not sure whether to stand or go left or right. So there was a bit of forward thinking in that.
Yeah, I like that. Bigger picture.
While you're on about penalties, Marcus, just while we're on it quickly, we're running short of time. Do you think nowadays when people take penalties, they make things a bit too difficult? Because you see these fancy run-ups, they do Jorginho does the little jump. Do you think they make it a bit too technical?
I just think whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever works for you, however you want to do it. What I would find strange is, but Graham Alexander used to do it, and he had a very successful penalty rate, was the straight run up to the ball.
Yeah,
I always find that a bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always ran, obviously, same setup, but different thought, really, in terms of how where I'm gonna put the penalty. But no, I think everyone's different, Rich, and if it works, it works. If it's not going to work, then eventually they're not going to be penalty takers, and someone else is going to take their place pretty soon.
Because Emma says in the chat about Ivan Toney. If you watch Ivan Toney when he takes a penalty, he's not even looking at the ball, is he? He's looking at the goalkeeper.
And that's the art in itself, really. Yeah. You know, you got a lot of trust to do there, and you got to.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, he's got a technique that works for him. So, and I think if you can do that, I think that's the way forward. You know, there's almost a bit of cat and mouse. Who's going to move first? Who's going to make the first move? That's what he's looking for. He's looking for the keeper to move. It's when the keeper doesn't move. That's when you got to have a default finish. You know, and I'm sure he has, because all he's doing is looking for the keeper and get that split second kind of ahead of everyone else, where he can put it the other side of where the keeper moves, because he's always looking at the goalie. So no, that's quite tough to do, and you got to be quite brave doing that, because it's literally last second. I've got to put it where I think the keeper's not going to go. That's how he looks at it.
Right, Matt, you got anything else before we close?
No, look, Marcus said we'll give us half hour. We don't overstay our welcome, Marcus. Brilliant to chat with you after all those
guys. Listen, thank you very much. Have a great Christmas. Have a great end to the end of the season. I hope it goes well, and I'm hoping to get to the Rovers game.
If you're there, give us a shout. Give us a shout, and I'll buy you a beer. I'm staying down there.
Yeah, are you? Okay, where are you staying?
I can't remember where I'm staying. I'm staying down there with my kids, and Colin in the chat. He's staying down there with his son. So
okay, just let me know, Rich. If I'm around. But generally, if I'm having a beer, it's going to be weekends these days. I don't do midweek. I just can't take it. I'm just getting too old.
Only one.
Oh, I can't do one. I may as well have a non-alcoholic beer or Coca-Cola or something. Like, there you go. I'm at a
anyway,
look, or nothing.
Look, we really appreciate you, mate, coming on and chatting, and everyone in the chat. I know there'll be loads of people watching this all over the world, sending best wishes to you, mate, and stay strong. We're all with you, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, we're still here. Martin's obviously not pressed the button, Matt.
What's he up to?
Are you finished, are you? I didn't know if you were finished as well.
Here he is.
30 minutes.
30
minutes in the bank. We didn't want to overstay our welcome, Mark. Look, I hope everyone in the chat really enjoyed it. You know, it was good that he gave us his time, you know, on a Sunday evening.
Absolutely.
Half hour, and he's looking well. And look, hopefully that'll long way that continue.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Martin, press the button.
All right, boss.